Welcome to Mainly Outdoors. My name's Jesse, and today we are setting out to do something that's just a little bit controversial. We're down by the water. I'm gonna set out. We're in a more urban area, and we are gonna be throwing some big poppers for bass that are in this river. I normally fish from this bridge downstream. Today, I figured we'd try something new, and I will go from this bridge upstream, explore some new waters with you guys. Before we get started, I would like to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Sugaling. They sent me the rod and reel combo that I'm gonna be using throughout today's video. And I'll talk about that more in a little bit. Yeah, so whenever I'm working a popper like this, when I'm in open water, like I am right now, I like to pop it a little bit faster. And then if I fish around cover, for example, you know, if like there was a nice log there, I'll drop it, pop it once, and let it sit for a little bit, pop it again. Because bass tend to really come up, they just stare at it for quite a while before they actually commit. So it's nice to keep it in that strike zone for a little bit longer. Nothing. We'll go try some flatter waters back up there. Saw a nice rise out there. This is right where I saw that rise, somewhere right in there. Nice and deep. Oh. Ah, that's not what I'm going for. Come here. I'm just tearing up my popper. Easy there. Oh, all right. Nice. Good tooth marks in there now. Thanks, bud. So that was probably what we saw jump here because it was right around the same spot. We're gonna move up. There's both smallmouth and largemouth in this water. I thought I'd probably have a shot at a largemouth here. Lots of weeds, slow water, but it is pretty hot now, so I'm gonna go up by that moving water, see if we can't get some smallmouth. Let's just get up there and see. A little smallmouth, definitely not a big guy. Just a little baby. So I didn't mention this yet, but I'll tell you in a second. Off he goes. Now I know you guys are wondering what this controversial topic is. Today we are going to be eating a bass, and to some of you, you might think, well, that's not very controversial. Well, there's a whole nother group of people who are screaming at the computer right now because it is quite controversial. That fish I could actually legally keep, but it was just a bit on the small side. So we're going to shoot for about a pound, pound and a half. All right, last cast here. Just gonna move all the way around this, make our way up to the head. I'm gonna make one more to straighten my line out just to reel it in. And hopefully get a fish. Oh, like that. That is not a keeper. It's not too many big ones in here. I just come here because it's close to where I live, so it's a fun evening fish, you know, after I finish editing. Just come out here, catch a couple smallmouth. Occasionally you get some big ones, and every now and then, well, earlier in the season you'll get some striper in here. That's probably the one. If I can just keep him out of a log, I think we're gonna eat this guy. Like that one. Oh no. Yep, that's exactly what we were waiting for. It's not a giant, obviously, but it's a good eater. So I'm just gonna dispatch this guy real quick. We're gonna take that fish home and make a great meal with it. It's definitely not gonna go to waste. But before we do that, I wanna give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video. So Sugaling provided the rod that you've seen me using today. For those of you guys who are always on my channel, wondering what's the best startup rod to get, and to be honest with you, the best startup rod that you can get is one that you can afford and one that you have in your hand. And that is why I think they were a great sponsor for today's video, because you get the rod, reel, fly line, backing, the leader, a fly rod case, and a fly box, all for around $90. And actually they even give you these nippers, which I lost mine, so that came in handy. If you guys want to get into fly fishing, this might be a good option to pick up. I'm gonna put their link down in the description. Check them out down below. We are gonna head home and we're gonna pick out a recipe to cook up this bass. So I will see you guys in just a bit. I personally think that if you are gonna harvest a bass and make a meal like this, I have no problem with it, especially if you're going out, you're following regulations, keeping your appropriate limit, then there's really nothing wrong with that. A lot of people might say otherwise, but that's my view on it. Of course, I'm open to hearing anyone's comment on this. Go down below in the comments, let me know what you think about this, whether you agree or disagree. I'd like to hear both sides. I have a pretty interesting recipe in store. As far as the ingredients go, we're going to be using some leeks, lemons, shallots, broccoli, and red peppers. So first thing I'm going to do is preheat the oven to 400 and put in our red peppers. Once that's in the oven, we're going to start cutting everything up, and that includes the broccoli, the shallot, and the leeks. So once those are all cut up, we're just going to set them aside and start to cook up a sauce that is going to go over the top of this dish. We are going to add a little bit of olive oil, throw in our shallots and heat that up a little bit. While those are heating up, we're gonna pop open a bottle of wine and then use some of that wine to deglaze these. With that done, we're gonna pop out our red peppers from the oven, let them sit for a little bit with some sort of covering over the top of them. That's gonna allow us to peel the skins off. Then we're gonna take that, throw it back in the mix for a little bit, cook it a little longer, and then blend everything together into a nice paste. Now, moving on, we're gonna boil some water and then throw in our broccoli and leeks into the mix for 10 minutes, drain them, and then blend those as well. With that completed, we are ready for our fish. So we're gonna put some butter in the pan, put in our fish, and then cook those on one side and give them a good sear on the other side. And with that done, we're gonna plate everything up. So we're gonna start with a nice base of our broccoli and leek. And then over the top of that, we're gonna put our red pepper sauce. And with that, our dish is completely done. It does take a little bit of time. That's hard to see in this video, but it is a fantastic dish that I highly suggest you trying. So we have two dishes here. I kind of made a couple different tapas. So we have the smallmouth, and then I also decided to make one with Atlantic salmon. That way we can kind of compare them. I've got Marin here with me, so we're both gonna try it, give you our opinions, and see what we think of this dish.
Ooh, I like the broccoli.
Is it good?
Yeah, I think I like salmon more. I think the salmon has more flavor in general than a bass does. That's just me though.
And when you try the smallmouth and compare it to the salmon, it's actually quite surprising how much more flavor is in it. I'm not saying smallmouth is bad. I actually think it is quite good, especially with this dish. You kind of just have to try it.
And I like how the yellow sauce has like a warm taste to it. I don't know if that makes sense. And then the broccoli is kind of cooler. And I think it complements each other really nice.
If you want to see other videos like this, you can scroll through my channel. I have all kinds of catch and cooks out there. If you want to see what this video was 2 years ago, I made this exact same video. Actually, I think it was one of the worst videos I've ever made. So if you really want to check that out, you can. Otherwise, I got some great stuff up there that is newer. It's pretty good though, huh?
Yeah, I like it.
It's really good.
Like
There's a bunch of leeks in with the broccoli.